Hello, all. I have been really pushed to start doing video series, so here we go. Last evening I posted something, a little meme about believing until your belief comes true, basically is the generalized version of the meme. And then Beautiful Soul commented about at what point does believing become delusional. And my answer, my feeling on that is never. Because I believe the delusion that one feels is happening towards this belief that they want this thing that they want, they start doubting themselves because it's not showing up in their experience right away. Well, every thought and desire that you have, whether it's something you don't want or something you do want, the universe says yes. If you're not familiar with the law of attraction, I suggest that you go and you do a little research on that. There's a 1,000,001 awesome videos on it and written information and all that jazz. I'm not going to get too much into it right now because there's already been so many people who've spoken about it. Maybe I will later. But right now, I want to, talk a little bit about vibrational attraction, which is the law of attraction. When we begin to go into that place inside of our head of delusion, that's the specific emotion that we're talking about right now. When we begin to go into that place inside of our head of feeling that, I'm not really going to get this thing that I keep believing that I want. I'm just being delusional about it. It's not really actually going to happen. And we start all of that negative self-talk. We are then setting ourselves up for whatever that is that we were believing to stay on the other side of the proverbial door. When you ask for something or you believe in something, it's delivered. The tricky part is acceptance. The tricky part is fully allowing yourself to have that in your experience by creating a vibrational match for whatever that is. Now, the root cause of where the emotion of delusion comes from, this is where we become the real investigator of ourselves. This is where we start chasing those rabbits down holes to figure out the root cause of these things that are popping up. They're blocks, these blocks in the road on the path towards the obtaining the thing we believe we want. So, I'm an extremely introspective person. The information that I can provide is only through my own experience, and if it doesn't resonate with you, then, just take what you can and leave the rest. But here's my journey and my experience. When I begin to doubt myself in whatever it is, for me, it tends to come back to a worthiness thing. I battle worthiness. So I'll give you an example of how my train of thought might go if I were to be believing that I'm not getting to a delusional part about wanting this big, beautiful, amazing house for me and my family. I'm just being delusional about it. That's not actually gonna, this house doesn't really exist, or I'll actually never be able to afford that house. It's too big. It's too amazing. And then I start to beat myself up like, man, you're just being delusional, Amanda. Why don't you put your feet back on the ground, come back to reality? If I were to track that delusion backwards, well, what makes me feel delusional? Well, it's just too big. You're asking for too much. Okay. I'm asking for too much. Well, where does this idea that I'm asking for too much come from? Well, when you ask for too much, then you're being selfish. Okay. I'm being selfish. Where does the emotion of being selfish come from? Gosh, what does selfishness feel like? Feels like heaviness in my chest. Notice your body as you move through the emotional scale, because your body is your indicator of how in alignment you are with something. So when you go into that place of deep believing and big dreaming over something that you really, really want, take a second and take inventory of how you feel. When we're really happy and we're having those big dreams, or we're excited about something, our body will feel a specific way. There'll be emotions tied to it. When we begin to understand those emotions and realize the triggers that our body is showing us through sensation, that is your vibrational alignment system in action. When you begin to move into that place of delusion and just disallowing, what's the emotion that's tied to that? Unworthiness, sadness, selfishness. What does that feel like? Where do you carry that in your body? And as you become aware of these different sensations linked to different emotions, you can start to really follow your guidance system that is your body, because your body will always tell you if you are close to your alignment or not. You can see this in the way people make us feel. When we are around, I shouldn't say the way people make us feel, the way we feel around people. When you get around that friend or that family member that just makes you happy and you feel light, or when you're around your love, you notice specific qualities in yourself when you're around them. That's why you want to be around them more. You are in more alignment with what makes you happy. Take a moment and take emotional and sensational stock. When you're around somebody who, tends to irritate you, you get frustrated around them, you're just uncomfortable, take emotional and sensational stock. That is showing you that you are farther out of alignment. You're farther away from the source energy that is alignment with your highest path and purpose. Now, I know I'm giving a lot of information here, and I hope it's all going to make sense. But I was really guided last night to just make a little video blurb about taking stock in your bodily sensations, tracking backwards that emotion to a root cause of where it's coming from, so that you can observe that piece more closely, because it's that piece that's creating this larger piece that's blocking you from the piece of allowing yourself to fully have that. It's about tracking those white rabbits back down their holes. I'm going to do a video series. This is just a small short introduction. Really, really pushed and guided last night to start it. It's going to be called How We Create. It's going to take me some time to birth it because I have to write it out, but it's coming. So I hope that you'll journey with me. Please post questions. I love to expand on this. This is my passion. My passion is helping people to understand how we create our reality, how our vibrational frequency and what we're holding from this life and past lives creates the things that we're experiencing now. Good, bad, and indifferent. It's hard to own it. It's hard to really understand sometimes when we're in a really tough spot that we created that for ourselves. It may not have been yesterday that you created it. It may have been 2 years ago, and I don't want to go as far as calling it karma because I think that's slightly different. But vibrationally, that's what you're attracting to yourself because of something that you're holding, or some belief pattern you're running, or some program that's not yours that may have come from your parents, that you're still running in your emotional, mental, physical, energy body. So we're going to elaborate on this. I hope this generates a lot of great conversation because I want to just squeeze you, Angie, for having the bravery to post your question. Because when we post questions from emotionally sensitive places, it gives people permission to do that for themselves. Because your bravery of being vulnerable shows our pure, authentic self, I think. And I have so much love and so much support. And I can really hold space for the people who are willing to just put themselves out there because they just need something, So thank you very much for doing that. That's pushed me forward into this, and it's created this huge download for me on this whole video series. So I'm getting ready to jump off my proverbial and what feels like a physical cliff, and really put myself out there and the things that I can help and provide, and not just, fill my page up with awesome memes. It's time for this information to be birthed and brought forward because people are ready and I'm ready. So I love you all. I look forward to moving through this journey with you. I thank you for your support. And don't be afraid to be your own investigator. We have to go backwards into ourselves before we can sometimes move forward in reality, in our physical reality, for allowing. So I hope that makes sense. But peace in.